It's week nine, and we're over here. Welcome back, everybody, with the waiver wire. We're here with former athletic trainer Marco Nunez and owner of Evolve Athletic. How you doing today, Marco?
Doing well. Doing well. It's week 9. We're a little bit of more than halfway. So right now you're pretty much running out to see where you're at as far as standings. Hopefully either make a quick last minute run to try to make the playoffs, or you're probably 1-7 right now and probably already waiting for looking forward to next year.
Yeah. So that's about where I am. I have 4 leads, and let me just say this: 75% of my leads, I'm not getting anything.
Uh-oh. I'm in
Yeah,
three. Yeah. I'm in three. I'm 1-7, one of them, and the other two, I'm okay. I think I'm pretty good right now. And then in the second one, I'm kind of trying to make a quick run for the playoffs right now.
yeah. One I'm in really good shape. The other two, I need like about four, and I don't even think I have enough time to catch that. So I'm gonna focus on lead I'm in, man. But these damn players, man, they keep on getting hurt.
And
Freaking Keenan Allen, man, like damn him, and
correct,
Jonathan Taylor, and anyway, we're gonna talk about it. Let's go ahead and start off with Josh Allen
yes.
with elbow injury.
Correct. So Josh Allen didn't miss any time. He stayed in the game, but I guess he there was reported that he had a little bit of an elbow issue or elbow injury. They haven't really specified anything, but he kind of played it off after the game. Like I said, it wasn't enough for him to leave the game and not miss anything. But it's just a matter of kind of watching him as far as through the rest of the week. Make sure there's no issues. He may have a little bit of a bone bruise, stuff like that. But I don't expect to miss any time. As far as for week 10, I expect him to be back. He may miss a practice here and there just to kind of be able to let it rest. But other than that, he should be ready to go, unless any new reports come out throughout the week.
Yeah, so he's on my team that I'm actually I was 7-2 on, so or 6-2 and going to this week. So I need him to stay healthy for sure. Uh yeah, how about Jameer Chase over there with the
Yeah.
Bengals?
So this was interesting, and also last week in Week 8, you were able to see how much Jameer Chase helps the Cincinnati Bengals. I mean, last week in Week 8, I think the Cincinnati Bengals got shut out basically. Um, you still have so basically was diagnosed with a hip issue. There's probably either some impingement in there or maybe like a little bit of a bone spur in there. But they expected to be out for 4 to 6 weeks. Now 4 to 6 weeks in fantasy football is a long time, especially right now if you have Jameer Chase on your lineup and you're trying to make a run for the playoffs. If he's out for the whole entire 6 weeks, that's going to hurt you as a manager for fantasy football. Now, obviously, T. Higgins is still there. If you were smart enough, you probably scrambled and picked up Tyler Boyd. But Tyler Boyd himself, I think he had a touchdown last week. This weekend, he did okay. He's kind of hanging in there. But for this weekend, it was pretty much the Mixon show.
Yeah, I mean, man, that dude had 55 points in one of my leagues. He had 5 touchdowns. Yeah, and I had, I actually put Tyler Boyd in, and yeah, he didn't do nothing like. I, I, one thing, I mean, one thing is injuries. Another thing is you just can't get it right. You know what I mean? Like you get a player and he balls out, gets 20-some points, and you pick him up, he gets 3. That seems like it always happens when it's not the main person all the time. So it's
Correct.
always hard to tell.
Correct, and that's what, like I mentioned, is that we were able to see how much Jameer Chase helped every other player, just the Bengals in general, him being on the field type of thing. Once he left the field, it hurt all the other receivers, even T. Higgins. I mean, when Jameer Chase was on the field, T. Higgins would get a bunch of reception, he would get a bunch of touchdowns, he could accumulate a bunch of points. But in today's game, I think Tyler Boyd probably got more points than T. Higgins, if I'm not mistaken, type of thing.
Yeah,
So they suffered a little bit there.
yeah, definitely. Let's go ahead with Romeo Dobbs, wide receiver for the Packers.
Aaron Rodgers cannot get a break with receivers here. I mean, you get one guy back. Lazard came back for the game, and Romeo Dobbs, very first play, very first quarter, first drive, he gets an ankle injury, leaves the game. He gets checked out on the 10th, and at that point, the training staff decides to kind of cart him off the field and head out. So it's just a matter of what's going on with the ankle. The fact that he got carted off the field tells us that there's something that was significant enough for them to be concerned that he didn't want to be weight bearing and take it out. So obviously they'll probably do an MRI and we'll see what happens with him. But you already have Randall Cobb out on IR for 4 to 6 weeks with a high ankle sprain. Romeo Dobbs is out. Watson himself is also out as well. So the only receiver that Aaron Rodgers has now is basically Lazard.
Yeah. So and we don't know how he walked out, if he had a boot or anything. No reports on that.
Correct. I was able to find any reports on him with that one.
All right. So Brandon Cooks, he had some personal issues.
Yeah, so this is kind of interesting. It kind of sucks if you are a Brandon Cooks, if you have Brandon Cooks in your lineup. So what I read is, my understanding, every other reports we're talking about, is that it was a personal issue, meaning that I think he had requested to be traded from the Houston Texans, and the fact that they didn't trade him on the trade-off cutoff line, he wasn't happy. And I guess between management, coaches, and himself, they decided to just not play him. And he played Thursday night, so there wasn't any specific injury, so to speak. He was just not happy being with the Texans. He wasn't happy the fact that he didn't get traded. And I guess just they decided to kind of not play him. I'm assuming it was a mutual thing between him and the Houston Texans also. But also, let's not also miss Aaron Jones with the running back with the Packers.
Yeah, think about Brandon Cooks, man. I had him a couple of years ago, and he always just let me down anyway. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't know what it is about like him. Like when he was on the Rams, he's bounced around the league, and he's one of those guys that always has like potential, but he just never really pans out, and that's like my question is like, okay, if you want out. You probably it's a bad look, but maybe somebody else will pick him up somewhere else, or maybe they'll next year.
Correct.
We'll have to see.
Yeah, and I agree with you. With Brandon Cooks, he's always been that receiver that's had those high hopes that everybody expects him to kind of like take off and explode and have a great season type of thing. He'll give you 1 or 2 games, almost like little teasers that keeps you happy, but if he's on your team, it's almost like you cannot bench him. You kind of have to have him on your lineup. He may give you a game here and there, and then you're happy, but then there's more weeks of disappointment than actual booms type of thing, as they call it with ESPN, either boom or bust. It has more busts than booms, but he'll have a boom here and there, enough to keep you happy, but then it's like, hey, what do you do with him?
Yeah, like, he just kind of, it's almost become a waste of a roster spot because you never know when to play him.
Correct. No,
you know what I mean?
And that's the same thing I'm having trouble right now with the season, with the Chicago Bears. There was talks about at the beginning of the year that David Montgomery, that's a big run, that the Bears run a lot. So I picked up David Montgomery. I think following this week, I decided just to drop him because I found somebody else better. I'm like, hey, you know what? I've been holding on to you for about 8 weeks already. And I think he had like 1 or 2 good weeks. Other than that, they've all been busts. And so I'm like, you know what? That's it. I'm done. Yeah. With my luck, he's going to go off for the rest of the year, and someone else is going to pick him up.
Yeah. It's really crazy, man. This fantasy league. We're gonna go to commercial right now, and we're gonna get some updates after that.
Okay, we'll do.
Hi, I'm Renee Starms of the Starms Agency. Do you know why 97% of startups fail? It's because they don't have the proper exposure. So for the first time ever, Infinity Studios and the Starms Agency have come together to provide you with the Little Guys Big Marketing Package. Now, this is for local Los Angeles businesses who are ready to launch, relaunch, or simply expose their business to grow. With this package, you're going to receive 6 months of online and offline marketing tactics in a customized plan for your business. You're also going to get a professional TV quality commercial filmed in an 1,800 square foot studio with multiple screening options. So if you're ready to grow, go ahead and click that link. We also have financing available. I'm looking forward to chat with you. Click the link and let's go.
All right, welcome back. Hey, so we want to get back into Aaron Jones, running back for the Packers. He got hurt too with his ankle, huh?
Correct. Yeah. So Aaron Jones left the game, and he actually left out the game early enough. For during the game, with the my understanding is an ankle sprain, or an ankle injury. They haven't really identified whether it's an ankle sprain, high ankle sprain, or anything of the sort, whether it's first, second, or third degree. But they did see him leave wearing a boot, and some of the reports out there indicate that actually when he was walking out of the stadium, or just walking in general, that he was actually walking with a significant limp in his gait, which tells me that he had difficulty putting any weight bearing on that ankle or on that foot. So that tells me that's probably there's a good significant injury on that part. So it's just a matter of trying to see how he progresses throughout the week, whether he practices or not. I'd be surprised. I expect it to be a true questionable, if not possibly doubtful, for week 10. So if you do have Aaron Jones, it's probably smart to start kind of making plans and start getting somebody out there ready. I'd be very surprised if Dylan is available. Most people already have him. But if you're in a league with only 8 people, you might have a chance. But if you're in a league with 10, 12, or 14 individuals in there, he's definitely gone. So we're gonna have to probably try to look somewhere else with another team.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, it's like you said, Aaron Rodgers can't catch a break anywhere. So but I guess it ain't his fault they're losing. Right, but he's the quarterback, he's the leader of the team. Anyway, hey, so Jonathan Taylor, he was somebody I had him in my league. He's out. And then of course my other running back had a bye. But is this dude gonna be back next week? What do you think?
We'll see. It's one of the things with Jonathan Taylor was probably the number one draft pick overall. I think if you were the number one pick, I know I had him in our league. In our league here, I picked him up as number one. I quickly kind of traded him away around week 4, week 5 type of thing. He's just not hasn't panned out. He has an ankle injury that I think is just kind of lingering around for this long period of time. I think he played last week, kind of probably aggravated it, decided not to play this week. So we'll see how he progresses throughout the week. It's just a matter of waiting and seeing whether he participates in practice and at what level of participation he participates in order to be able to determine whether he's going to be playing in week 10 or not.
So let me ask you, so because like I said, we're hearing that as an ankle injury, but we never know if it's a high ankle injury or lower injury. What are teams, if any, required to actually put out on their injury report?
So and I think it's something that we've talked about in the profanity show as well. That as far as the identifying or describing the type of injury varies from sport to sport, meaning from NFL to the NBA to the NHL. The NHL, they don't even say ankle; they just say lower extremity, and you have to guess whether it's a knee, whether it's an ankle, whether it's a hamstring with a squat. They just say lower extremity, or they'll say right leg. That's it, or left leg, right shoulder, or anything like that sort, or right arm. In the NFL, it's more a little bit more detailed, but they can't really come out unless a team wants to come out. And this is something that we've also talked about, that even in the NBA, agents also are kind of get involved, and the players also get involved. And sometimes the players can dictate what kind of information we are able to release, the depth of information, whether we just say ankle sprain, we don't have to say first degree, second degree, and then just kind of leave it at that type of thing. So in this case, we don't know whether it's a high ankle sprain. We don't know whether it's a first degree, second degree, or third degree ankle sprain. But the fact that he did walk out with a limp and wasn't able to put much weight on it, that tells us that there's probably a good significant injury in there that he's going to have to rehab. And I'll be very surprised if he's able to participate in week 10 of the NFL season.
Yeah, well, same thing. Mike Williams got an ankle injury too. He was
Yeah.
somebody I had on my team.
So the one thing about Mike Williams, they've actually identified him with a high ankle sprain. So at least we're able to kind of have an idea as far as what's going on. And usually high ankle sprains can linger anywhere between 4 to 6 weeks. So if you do have Mike Williams, you can expect him to be out for
It's a
4 to
wrap.
6 weeks. I'm so yeah, he's a wrap. Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So we're like at the point of fantasy football league that if you have a player that's going to be out 4 to 6 weeks and you're trying to make the playoffs, he's not going to help you at this point. Now, can you hold on to him, and then if you sneak into the playoffs, you can kind of put him back in your roster? Other than that, you either have to kind of let him go and pick somebody else that's going to help you right now. But yeah, I'm surprised that they haven't put him on IR type of thing right now, because he's going to be out for at least 4 weeks now. With the Chargers, I imagine they're not, because they have so many players on IR right now They have so many wide receivers that they're missing. I mean, 3 other wide receivers are out, so they're hoping
Let's
that
get right into it. Keenan Allen. Why is this dude now IR? Like he literally has missed what 5 weeks.
he missed more than 5 weeks. I think he's only played. No, he only played half a game last week.
Why is this guy IR? Like what's
Yeah.
going on?
Unfortunately, it's sad to say, I don't think he's played a full game. Officially, he has not played a full game this year so far. He got injured week 1, and they were talking about the ice. It's just a very small hamstring injury. He'll be fine by week 3. He didn't play week 2. He didn't play week 3. He had a setback type of thing. Now, hamstrings, and this is the thing about hamstrings, especially with wide receivers or running backs, is that hamstrings can be very tricky, and you can easily, quickly aggravate it if you do come back a little sooner than expected. You may feel great. You may feel good. You go out there, and boom, you can aggravate it type of thing. And I think that's what happened with Keenan Allen, that he kind of tried to rush back, had a little bit of a setback during practice. He had to take a break, came back again, played like half the game, felt fine, and then felt a little soreness the next day. So now he's at the point that, he's either going to suck it up and kind of just grow with it and see how he does, but he's not going to be your 100% Keenan Allen, or he just sits out until he's 100%.
Well, I think he's just gonna sit out. I mean, it's like that's been a pattern, with him. So he's very undependable. So maybe we should just drop him, and then But then that's a problem though. If you drop a Keenan Allen, and then he comes back healthy, and somebody picks him up, it's real tricky right now because that he could come back in 2 weeks. And you're in the playoffs in fantasy league, and he could be destroying it, and then all of a sudden, you lose because of that. So it's real tricky.
Yep,
it's real tricky. Darren Waller, man, my Las Vegas Raiders, man, like it's tough being a Raider fan, man.
Just Las Vegas, the Las Vegas Raiders in general. Last week they had a goose egg game against the New Orleans Saints. And this week, they were up, and then they kind of lost the win. But Darren Waller, same thing. And I think they're being very cautious with him just because of who he is, a tight end, and he's one of their franchise players. And, and they see what's going on around the league. So Darren Waller also has a hamstring strain. I think the team is being very cautious. They actually said that he's had no setbacks whatsoever. And they're just being cautious with him right now as far as returning. Obviously, if he returns a little sooner than expected, he can have little setbacks. He can have aggravated, and then he's out for the rest of the year, or he can be out for long periods of time. Just same example, just like Keenan Allen. So what's going on with Keenan Allen?
Yeah, well, let's get into Deebo Samuel. I'm gonna tell you what's interesting about that is if running back is taking his role. So it's really, really interesting with that because does he? He has a hamstring injury. Does he rush back? Or he sit out and then not actually have a role on the roster, and he's getting and the running back is taking it.
Correct, and this is something that we've talked about on the Profanity Nation show as well, as far as the risk reward type of thing. And every team depends on where they're at, what their status, what their standings, how they're looking, is going to determine whether you try to not necessarily rush your player back, but you kind of try to nudge him a little bit, so to speak, type of thing. In this case, Deebo Samuel, just like you mentioned, they traded for a player that's pretty much is taking all his rushing roles right there.
It's like trick plays. Deebo's a wide receiver, but he always is, doing end of rounds and stuff like that, and actually really becomes a running back. Mm-hmm. And then you have every time Christian McCaffrey makes one of those fantastic runs, they go and flash Deebo Samuel with them on the sideline. So it's really interesting.
I agree with you. Deebo Samuel, and this is one thing about Deebo Samuel. I tried trading for him. Deebo Samuel is a wide receiver that can play running back, so he can give you those rushing yards and those receiving yards. Christian McCaffrey, on the other hand, is a running back that can play receiver. So he kind of takes some of Deebo Samuel, so he becomes like Deebo Samuel now. So in this case, it actually benefits San Francisco 49ers because now there's no need to rush Deebo Samuel back. Obviously, they're going to need him for the playoffs. They're going to need him for the Super Bowl. The way they're playing right now, they're probably going to be one of the favorites to make it to the Super Bowl right now. So there's no need to rush him back. Get him healthy. Get him right. Bring him back when you need him. Now, for Fantasy Football League, obviously, you don't want to hear that because you need him on the field right away. So that hurts you type of thing. So I expect them not to rush Debo Samuel back whatsoever. They're going to take the time, make sure he's healthy, and they're looking forward towards the playoffs, the NFL season playoffs, unfortunately, not the Fantasy League playoffs.
Yeah, so this was my sleeper pick, Jahan Dotson, and he was doing okay, but I was waiting for that breakout. Then this guy goes to get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So now he has a hamstring sprain. And, like, man, like I don't know what's going on, man. Like, that's all these people got these hamstrings. Is it the turf or is it the water? What is it?
Turf, the water, the grass, the weather. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, Jahan Dotson, I agree with him. He was something that I think you talked about. I talked about it towards the beginning of the year. He had week 1 and week 2. He had the first 2 weeks, and then he got hurt. And ever since then, he's been kind of lingering around with the hamstring strain. My understanding, he hasn't had any major setbacks, but he hasn't been able to return on the field. He's practiced on a limited basis, but he didn't play this week, so it's just a matter of waiting and seeing how he does for the upcoming week for week 10.
Yeah, Mark Andrews, he has a knee injury, knee and shoulder, so he all messed up, huh?
Correct. So Mark Andrews he played in week 8 and ended up, week 7 ended up with a little bit of a knee issue. He was able to play in week 8, but then he ended up with a shoulder injury. I think it was during Thursday Night Football. And then after that, he pretty much is dealing with both the knee and shoulder. He's already been ruled out for Monday night's football game for tomorrow. So we don't have Mark Andrews, and you're looking for a tight end, and you're either having played somebody already because all the games have played on Sunday. There's likely their backup tight end, which actually did well when Mark Andrews went out. So if you can go ahead and grab him, make sure you grab him to replace Mark Andrews if you have Mark Andrews in your lineup already.
All right, let's go into Devontae Parker with his knee.
Yeah, Devontae Parker has had a little bit of knee issue. I know he didn't play right now this past weekend with the New England Patriots, so it's just a matter of waiting to see how he does throughout the week as far as practicing.
Yeah. So Chuba Hubbard, he was going to get his opportunity with the running back and got an ankle,
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, I think he was out last week, and all the reports were talking about that he was actually going to be able to come back this week and pretty much take majority of the carries. Now, the one benefit for Chuba Hubbard is Deontay Foreman did not do well this week. Now, he went off last week. This week, on the other hand, I think he only rushed for about 41 yards. They kept him in check. The Cincinnati Bengals just went off this week. I mean, both defense and offenses showed up. So they held Deontay Foreman to only 41 yards. The only time the Carolina Panthers actually were able to do something is when they subbed in for Baker Mayfield, and he came in and they scored 2 touchdowns. But other than that, hopefully see Chuba Hubbard is expected to come back in week 10, and then you're probably going to have a little bit of a committee there between Deontay Foreman and Chuba Hubbard.
Yeah, it's crazy. So Mike Boone, he with his ankle.
So yeah, Mike Boone and the Denver Broncos. I mean, if you have a running back with the Denver Broncos right now, I think you want to stay away from all running backs. Mike Boone's hurt. Melvin Gordon is doing great. They brought in Latavius Murray, hoping that he might take over. He's not doing great, and then they just added another one, Chase Edmonds, for the Miami Dolphins. So now you have not only a 2-headed monster, you have a 3-headed monster, and if Mike Boone comes back, now you're gonna have a 4-headed monster. So at this point, you don't know which is the starting running back. You don't know who's going to get any touches on the goal line at this case. So if you have any Denver Broncos running backs in this best scenario, just stay away from them right now.
Yeah, I agree with you. I wouldn't put any of those running backs in there, especially with these games now. Like it's coming close to the end, so you got to really buckle down on your lineup. So yep. Mike Williams, like his ankle is still messed up.
Here, I put him up there twice, but we already talked about.
Oh yeah, yeah. You're right. My fault. Let's go to Marquise Brown.
Yeah, so Marquise Brown is something that we had talked about 2-3 weeks ago. He was expected to be out for the rest of the year. They did put him on IR, but now new reports are showing that he actually may be back sooner than that. He may come back towards the end of the NFL season. He may not be able to be back for the fantasy football, but if you have him, you kind of want to hold on to him. Maybe you do have an IR spot on your roster as far as if your league does that, make sure you put him in there, keep him in there. He may help you during the at the very end of the fantasy football playoffs if you're able to get that far out.
Yeah, so let's talk about Ryan Tannehill with his ankle.
Yeah, so Ryan Tannehill has a little bit of an ankle issue. I remember last week he left with the game with the boot and a little bit of crutches. He didn't play this week. Their backup, Malik Willis, I think, took over the game. Although I think he didn't do. They played on Sunday Night Football. They lost the game. He actually did okay. It, obviously became the Derrick Henry show. He scored 2 touchdowns. I think he rushed for about 100 yards, a little bit over 100 yards type of thing. But at the end of the day, the Kansas City Chiefs were able to kind of win in overtime.
Yeah, yeah, that was an interesting game there. Let's talk about go back over to Green Bay with Randall Cobb.
Yeah,
Like,
so
is he? Again, another bad thing with Aaron Rodgers. He has no chance of anybody coming back right now.
So
Right?
Randall Cobb has no receiver. So I mean, Aaron Rodgers has no receiver. So Randall Cobb has also a high ankle sprain. They put him on IR. He's gonna be out 4 to 6 weeks. The injury occurred about 2 weeks ago, so he probably has at least 2 more weeks of being out. Now, the unfortunate part is that right when he had the injury, Aaron Rodgers started throwing towards Randall Cobb. He kind of, Randall Cobb played with Aaron Rodgers a while back ago. Randall Cobb was one of his guys before Devontae Adams and all that stuff. So, he was hoping that someone kind of become his guy. And he kind of did for about two weeks there type of thing. But then he got hurt. So now he's out for at least 4 to 6 weeks.
All right. Well, hey, do we have any sleeper pits? Anybody at all this week?
The funny part about it, I was racking my brain for the last hour trying to figure out who do I pick? Who can I recommend? And I am actually out of anybody right now. I mean, there's nobody. I was thinking of Deion Jackson with the Indianapolis Colts, but he didn't do well. The only one, even the running backs with Kansas City Chiefs, either I was thinking of McKinnon might be available. Jarek McKinnon actually is doing okay type of thing. They kind of pass it to him a little more. There's nobody that kind of popped in my head. I'm having trouble trying to find a sleeper out there right now.
Yeah. Jared McKinnon, I kind of was mine too. Like, he's kind of hit and miss. Like, he may have a good game, and then you don't throw his weight at all the next time. So it's really like, I think a lot of right now is so much strategy based right now. Really about what team they're playing, what type of defense they're going to be going against to kind of get somebody. But yeah, I wish I had one too, but I don't have anybody.
The only one, but he's probably already taken, and I'm sure he's probably at least 50, 60% times of the leagues. And I picked him up. If you are in need of a quarterback, and there happens to be somebody out there, Justin Fields with the Chicago Bears. Now, Chicago Bears are not winning any games, but they are producing a lot of points. Justin Field is rushing a lot of yards. He's throwing a few touchdowns. He's had 3 great games in a row, type of thing. So if you can somehow grab Justin Fields if he's available, type of thing, make sure you kind of grab him for the rest of the fantasy football league if he's available, type of thing. Other than that,
yeah, I picked Gus Edwards up a couple weeks ago because he had a good game, and then he got hurt. So so the guys are sitting on my bench, and there's nobody really out there. But sorry for all the fans of waiver wire. We're gonna try to find somebody, but at least we're being honest with you, letting you know that not very many sleepers out there. Everybody's kind of getting disposed by now.
The only one I kind of thought about, because I was looking over the weekend on Saturday, is I saw Cam Akers is starting to kind of he was active for today, so I was hoping that either somehow he became they kind of sat down, talked about it, and then they kind of came out in good terms, and he was actually kind of maybe blow up a little bit and come out and play a little more. But he only got, I think, like 3 touches, ran for like 10 yards. It was more of the Darrell Henderson show type of thing. So as far as running backs for the Rams, I mean, you don't even know who's running for them anymore.
Yeah, that's what's so crazy about it. Like, Cam Akers kind of was like, they're kind of blaming each other. Like, the Rams are blaming Cam, and Cam was blaming Rams on why they kind of he been away and coming back and the turmoil so over there. So yeah, they if they gonna make a Super Bowl run again and try to be back to back, they got to figure it out over there.
The only sleeper I actually have, I just popped in my head. Actually, I picked him up in a different league. If you're in need of a tight end, but they've already played. They're on a bye this week. Is the tight end for the Denver Broncos, a rookie Dosage?
Okay.
He's 2 good games. What's his name? Russell Wilson's actually looking towards him. He had a great game last week up in I think they were in London, type of thing. So they're in a bye week right now. So because he's in a bye week right now, he's available to pick up. You don't have to wait for the waiver wire. If you happen to have a slot, you're looking for a tight end for next week. Unfortunately, not for this week. You can go ahead and grab it right away. You don't have to wait for the waiver wire pickup on Tuesday. So Dulcich, the tight end, rookie tight end, I think he's from UCLA with the Denver Broncos, has had 2 great weekends, 2 great weeks in a row.
All right, let's see. Hopefully that works out. Hey, so this is the end of waiver wire for this week. We thank you guys for watching, participating. Want to give a shout out to Super N Challengers. Let me say you traded away Pittman from Mossort to get Adams this last week and paired him with a team with Kenneth Walker and Joe
wow.
Mixon. Wow. And Joe Mixon went crazy.
Not only Joe Mixon went crazy, Devontae, he had they say he got Devontae Adams as well?
He traded away Pittman and Mozart and for Kenneth Walker and Joe Mixon. Oh, no. Mozart to get Adams, yeah. Last week. He killed it.
He's got Kenneth Walker and he got Joe Mixon. Whoever this person is, he or she racked up at least 100 points just among these three players.
Yeah, minimum. I know. Yeah, because I saw Mitchell got 55 points in one league.
He got 55. Adams got, I think, 36 points, and Kenneth Walker gave him another 24. So this person got at least 125 points just out of these three players. Now, it was very smart of this person trading Mostert, and that's the thing. Also, I have in one of our leagues, I decided to sit him. The reason being is that they traded for Jeff Wilson. So Jeff Wilson actually got a couple of touches in with the Miami Dolphins. So it's interesting what's going to happen. They may have a little bit more of a committee because Mostert was the one that kind of almost came out of that committee, and he became the starting running back for about 3 weeks in a row, 3-4 weeks. And now that they have Jeff Wilson's, I was a little upset because obviously now it becomes a committee, and they did. They showed a little bit of a committee this past week. So I expect that to be more of a committee from here on out. So very smart move. Kudos to who's this CNB Challengers.
Yeah, hey, so look, this guy, listen, he got 162 points right now, and he got Olave and Lamar going for tomorrow. And Lamar been balling. Ooh. So he gonna get over 200 points.
Oh, he's gonna break.
You know what? You know what sucks about that in fantasy football though? He probably only needed like 100, right? And then next week, Joe Mixon ain't gonna do nothing, and he's gonna lose by 20. And I'm not hating on you. I'm just telling you this is what happens.
That's the way it works.
Football. And real quick, I mean, we got to go. We only have about another minute left. But how much did your opponent score this week? I would love to know. We can hang on for like another minute or so. But I guarantee his opponent probably only scored like 80 points this week.
Well, we'll see. Unless his opponent. Unless his opponent had Justin Fields, Austin Eckler on his squad, Derrick Henry, or something like that.
Right, yeah. Like
Justin Fields went out for like 43 points.
Yeah.
78,
right. There you go. This guy doubled him. Hey, tune in next week, man. Please tune in next week, man. Because I want to know what the score was for next week. Because I mean, dude, that's the problem right there, man. That's one of the reasons why I hate fantasy football right there.
I would not be surprised if he triples him by end of Monday Night Football.
Right.
With Lamar Jackson.
Right. Yeah, Lamar and the Saints, man. Yeah, that's going to be a great game, too. But, hey, congratulations on this week, man. I hope you're winning your league.
Great trade right there.
Yeah, it worked out great. All right, that's it for Waiver Wire. Everybody tune in. If you want to, there are going to be updates during the week. Marco goes and follow us on the Waiver Wire Pod on Instagram and TikTok. And you'll be able to listen to updates all throughout the week, you guys. Thanks a lot, Marco.